This is the Ricochet Report. The Ricochet Report.
Welcome to the Ricochet Report, the show that talks everything and anything firearms. I'm your host, Brad. And it's true, guys. I am finally a National Range Officers Institute certified range officer. What is that exactly? Well, if you shoot in the competitive world of USPSA and some of the other competitive worlds recognize this certification also, it is the person that gives the range commands and runs the range and makes sure that the shooter is following all the safety rules, as well as making sure that they're within the rule book, right? It's a sport, and you have to actually score the person and make sure they're in compliance with all the rules, and some of the ones they may not be aware of, and some of the ones that are more obvious. So what is this class entail? Now, this is nothing like the NROI RO class. I've had that one for years now, and that is really a strictly safety course. And that's the one that a lot of ranges recognize as far as being able to use their facility. And I don't mean as, going there to shoot as a regular user, but more being able to rent out a facility for the sake of teaching classes, etc. What I am talking about is, again, if you've ever watched those YouTube videos or you watch videos of mine from shooting, you've heard someone say, make ready, are you ready, stand by, beep, and then, all the shooting starts and it goes from there. So that's what you do, and you have to make sure that the person is within the, like I said, they're within all of the rules of the rule book, which is a very lengthy rule book, and there's a lot of sections and subsections, and you have to be able to cite certain rules if you have to declare any of these rules on a shooter, or cite the rules if you're claiming that they broke one of the rules, etc. So what does the class entail? Well, I had the privilege of taking the class with George Jones, and if you don't know who George Jones is, he's kind of a legend in the USPSA community. He's written a lot of the rules that you find in the book. He's been a part of this sport for 25 plus years, I believe. Fantastic shooter, and really teaches you how to understand the sport, understand the rules, and how to apply them, and how to be a good RO. And I think a lot of people don't appreciate a good RO, because an RO is really going to dictate how that stage goes for you and how the match goes overall. That's more so on all of the ROs and how well it's ran. It really comes down to the ROs that are running the stages. They have a lot of input into the match itself, into the stages themselves. So they're really an important part of the sport. And of course, they want to make sure everybody's safe the whole day so nobody gets hurt. And, we really owe that up to the ROs on the stages. So George Jones, fantastic instructor, really made it an enjoyable class. It's a 2-day class, but he made it feel, when I say 2-day class, I mean full 2 days. And he made it feel, really, it was entertaining, and it was enjoyable. It was learning. We learned a lot of rules I didn't know, and I've been shooting this sport for a little over a year now, and I learned a lot, which was really cool. So can't say enough good things about him as an instructor. Fantastic instructor. And I believe, according to himself at least, but I've heard he said that in the past. I think it's true this time, though. He said that he is moving. He's taken off. He's no longer going to be here in New York, no longer here on the East Coast teaching. He's heading to the West Coast. So he claims he's retiring. This was his last class. Pretty cool to think that might have been his last class. Glad I got to be a part of that, because, like I said, he's a legend. And that was a really, really amazing class to have taught by him. So the class entailed 2 days. The first day was all classroom stuff, and the second day was classroom as well as live fire. So the classroom stuff, you go over the rule book pretty extensively, at least all the important chapters. There's a lot of classroom activities where they split you up into groups, and you do some hands-on stuff with rubber guns. And you do some hands-on, some problem solving, where they'll hand you like an index card and it says, this is what happened. How do you rule on this? Where do you cite it from? Like, you couldn't just make it up. You had to cite your sources. You had to become familiar with the rule book, or at least where to find things in the rule book, to be able to make that claim, which was a really good exercise because it taught you how to think about where you could find certain answers in the rule book. Like I said, it's a pretty extensive rule book. It's over 100-something pages long. So you really do have to at least know where you're going to be looking if you're going to be calling someone on something. And then day 2, you also did a lot of video watching both days. Watching videos, saying what you thought was wrong, learning from them, etc. Day 2, very similar in the morning portion. And then after lunch, we moved into the range, and there we did live fire exercises where George told certain people to do certain things. Nothing was unsafe by any means. It was more scoring and penalty or procedurals, as they're called, exercises where you tried to catch certain things that they were doing wrong, whether it was based on the stage or based on the shooting area, etc. So really overall, fantastic class. After the class is over, you take the test online. It's a 50-question test. You have to be able to cite sources of the rules, or cite the rules, I should say, not the sources, but cite the rules. And then after that, you are a certified range officer by the NROI, and you can start working at USPSA matches everywhere from level 1, which is your local matches, to level 2, which is already nowhere in the major match category. Level 3, your area matches, and then level 4, your nationals. And it'll be really cool because I'll actually be going to a nationals this year with my teammate Anthony. We're going to be shooting Iron Sight Nationals, and I believe that's in Ohio. I would like to also go to one of the other national matches in Talladega, but I'm not sure yet if that's going to be possible with everything going on this year. So that was that. Also, now on a new topic, I want to talk to you guys about where this podcast is going, or better yet, where the Ricochet Report is going. So the podcast isn't going anywhere. The podcast is here to stay. I love doing this podcast. I'm getting a lot of good feedback on it, so I'm going to continue to do it. I'm not going to take that away. But I want to add, I want to expand. So I want to move into the YouTube world and not just uploading podcasts to YouTube and not just, uploading match footage to YouTube, but I want to start uploading quality content, kind of like I do on Instagram, or at least what I consider quality content, but lengthier, stuff that you guys can really learn from. So I'm going to be doing YouTube reviews of anything related to anything really, whether it's guns themselves, accessories, optics, lights, trying to do what other YouTubers are doing, but do my own little spin on it, the Ricochet Report style. And the other side of it is I want to do training tips in any way, shape, or form, whether it's competition tips, medical tips, CCW tips, tactical tips, combative tips, anything that I can do to help you guys and provide quality content in a video. I understand some people are not local, some people can't afford to, you can't always make time to come train in person or at your local place where you are. So this is my way of kind of sharing that with you guys completely for free. Just to provide quality content and really help out some of the people that are enjoying the stuff they're seeing on the page. And I get a lot of questions. People are messaging me. So that's something I'm going to try to do. And I'm also going to try to team up with some other people and bring them onto the YouTube show. So, just like you can listen to them on a podcast episode, you can also see them and see how they train and what they do. So I'm really excited to go down this journey and see how really big we can grow the Ricochet Report and see how much quality stuff we can put out there for you guys to enjoy. Now, how often the YouTube videos will come out, that I couldn't tell you, to be completely honest. I'm sure in the beginning it's going to be just as inconsistent as the podcast was. But now that I got the podcast into a rhythm at least, hopefully at some point I can get the YouTube videos into a rhythm at least. I hope to have a schedule change at work this year, which will free up a little bit of time, at least schedule-wise, to be able to do more and get these YouTube videos out at least on a more consistent basis. But for now, it's going to be however often I can, because, again, I want to also put out quality content. I don't want to just put out crap and just upload it. I actually want to put up quality production stuff, and you know me, I try to put in a little bit of effort into my video stuff. I spent a little bit of time in New York Film Academy thinking that was what I was going to do for a living. So I do, from the filming to the editing, pre-production, post-production, Foley, I really try to take it pretty seriously. Now, obviously, I'm going to take a little bit of it easy when it comes to certain things. Like, I don't really know how much Foley is going to be necessary, considering it's not a Hollywood production. I'm going to be trying to, the gunshots you'll hear will be real shots that are being fired. So I don't know how much Foley will be done, but I will try to, spruce things up a little bit to provide you guys with quality content that you'll both enjoy and stay entertained while actually learning at the same time. So on that note, next time you'll hear from a guest of mine who I met at Chacho. Very excited to bring him on the show. But until that next time, keep training, stay safe.
You're listening to the Ricochet Report.